So I've also prepared a script because I want to make sure I talk about everything I want to talk about and also that I share everything accurately. My name is Liri Zou. Dharma name is also Liri Zou. I'm a disciple of Dorje Chang Buddha III. I was born in Chengdu, China in 2001 and moved to Canada when I was around 1. I grew up in Vancouver, Canada and studied at UBC Bachelors of International Economics. I'm a Buddhist disciple at a group called 加拿大学佛院. I was really fortunate to start learning the Buddha Dharma at a young age. We were introduced to Namo Dorje Chang Buddha III and Namo Shakyamuni Buddha's Buddha Dharma in 2011. On August 7th, 2013, my parents, 2 younger brothers, many others, and I took refuge in Namo Dorje Chang Buddha III as our master. It's been 13 years since. In some sense, I really wasted 8 or so years. I say this because when I was listening to the audio recorded Dharma discourses imparted by Dorje Chang Buddha III, I wasn't diligent. What I mean by I wasn't diligent is that I was just going through the motions, rather than truly trying to learn and understand the Buddha Dharma. Since my brothers and I began learning the Buddha Dharma, we've been attending the 加拿大学佛院group study almost every Friday night. Although how it was organized changed over time, more or less we'd listen to the Dharma discourse and then play games as kids. When we were kids, we would talk in the back while everyone else was learning. When I wasn't fooling around, I still didn't focus. I would doze off or daydream, sometimes even on purpose, let alone take notes during or after learning the Buddha's teachings. We formed a 7-kid friend group around 2014. We spent a lot of time together, sharing similar interests like video games, trading card games, and sports. Also engaging in similar activities like singing, playing the violin, and dancing. Along the way, I made many mistakes. Because I was the oldest amongst the bunch, I developed an ego around him. I've always tried to be the best at the game, whether it's 王者荣耀, Pokemon cards, 三国杀, or soccer. I was really competitive. Alongside this competitiveness, I also harbored envy and a desire to be the leader and center of attention. There's another boy that was the second tallest, also one of the older boys. We started forming 2 factions. We even created our own hand signs for our group. I'd be jealous when one of my quote-unquote members went to play with the other group or talked to them too much. When we played games, it would be my team versus his team. This faction mentality was due to my competitive and jealous mindset, and in turn, it fueled anger, hatred, jealousy, and envy, creating a cycle. For example, if person A spoke to person B, I would feel envious and try to steal person B away or think of ways to break them up. Thoughts like, I can't let him be better than me at this, and I need so-and-so to see that I'm good, motivated me to become better at things we did together. It wasn't about all of us improving together. Rather, I just wanted to be a step ahead of everyone. There were all kinds of selfish wrongdoings, hurting others and generating negative karma. This silly game that I partook only started fading after we all grew up. I think I was in grade 10. I wish I'd never planted such bad karma, but I'm also really thankful for this experience. Because I'd rather mess up at a young age and learn from it than to mess up when I'm older with more serious consequences and understand it at an older age. I deeply believe that I wouldn't truly understand what my Buddha master was imparting regarding factions if I hadn't had such an experience to reflect on. In Buddhism, there are many sects and schools, and a recurring issue is how people, those who are not true cultivators, slander or speak poorly of one another. This division, filled with hatred and harming, distracts us from the true goal of performing good deeds and propagating the Buddha Dharma. This tendency of division, which comes from attachment to self, is an obstacle to our path of cultivation. Let's not even talk about such broad settings. This issue occurs even within smaller Buddhist organizations. This problem is not limited to religious contexts, but also extends to everyday settings, such as the workplace, school, and friend groups, where similar conflicts arise. What His Holiness Namo Dorje Chang Buddha III taught me about why we should and how to avoid such wrongdoings hit me really hard. Even though I didn't learn the Buddha Dharma diligently at a young age, I'm grateful that at least I upheld the precept of not killing living beings. This, of course, saved me a lot of bad karma. You could say that my lack of diligence in learning the Buddha Dharma was due to my poor Chinese. Yes, my Chinese was poor. However, that wouldn't stop a person truly with the mind of impermanence and mind of renunciation, a person who truly wants to attain liberation and accomplishment from diligently learning the Buddha Dharma. Even though in high school I took Chinese courses, I still wasn't able to read sutras, not even 30% of it. It wasn't until the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, just around when I finished my first year at UBC, that things changed. Since school moved online and I took quite a few hybrid and online courses during years 2 through 4, along with occasionally skipping classes, I found myself with a lot of free time on my hands. I started listening to Dharma discourses every day, and on top of that, read Buddhism books and online announcements from the office of Dorje Chang Buddha III, World Association of Buddhism headquarters, as well as the International Buddhism Sangha Association. In the past, I've done 2 or 3 segments of this type of daily learning, but they fell through. As I mentioned, my Chinese was poor. However, when I started learning this time, listening to my Buddha master's Dharma discourses paired with the assistance of my mom's help, as well as reading things online, I was able to develop my Chinese quickly. From the get-go, I didn't care about improving my Chinese solely to become proficient in another language. Rather, I knew from deep down that to learn the true Buddha Dharma, I had to become good at Chinese. I simply tried to understand the Buddha Dharma, and in the process, I had to look up the meaning of Chinese words. It went hand in hand. As I became more interested in the Dharma, I learned what the basic Chinese characters meant. And as my Chinese improved, I was able to get a better grasp of the Dharma, which in turn made me try to dig even deeper. This was when I began to cultivate more sincerely. My Buddha master's Dharma discourses not only contain the absolute truth, but are also filled with compassion and how to cultivate. Simply put, it gives insight to how the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas act, speak, and think. My Buddha master leads by example, showing us how to become someone with virtue, how to become a Bodhisattva at the causal stage. There are multiple disciples of great virtue that live with him and are by his side almost every waking moment, from the early mornings to, at times, 2-3 a.m. For example, Kai Chu Jiao Zun and Pen Zhiqi. I highly suggest listening to Pen Zhiqi's exclusive interview in Chinese to understand just a glimpse of what it's like to be with my Buddha master. Recently, a Buddhist sister told me that I was too clean and pure, that she was afraid for me because I hadn't experienced hardship. My path has not been easy, even though it may look that way. I've experienced my fair share of hardship and training in my recent years. Whether it was ego clashing or being treated so-called unfairly, or doubting my Buddha master and wrestling with my inner thoughts, or call it depression if you will. In the summer of 2021, with the blessings of my Buddha master, I was able to emerge from that short but dark period of demonic state, depression, and dirty thinking. I'm not going to go too deep into what exactly happened with my thinking, but I will say that I think what caused it was my arrogance, attachment to wrong thinking, and breaking of precepts. I've never experienced this type of depression / demonic state before. I couldn't sleep properly those nights. I tried sleeping in the living room, moved around between my 2 bunk beds, trying to find a comfortable position, and even asked my mom if I could sleep by her for mental comfort. My nights were restless. I was in a constant state of dull-mindedness and frustration. The closest feeling to it I would describe it as would be like a super sleep-deprived state. I was truly weak from the weeks of mental strain. I hadn't said I love you to my mom in as long as I could remember, but I said it during those dark times. My faith was being torn up. I tried to keep my faith with pure force. I debated with myself about Buddhism and wrote a bunch of notes arguing back and forth. I really felt as if I was about to die anytime soon. Then, one night, not long after I told my mom I loved her, I dreamed of myself falling into a dark hole in a barren land under a dark sky. I felt that if I fell down, I would die for sure. But I saw my Buddha master reach out and catch my hand, pulling me back. Although I can't vividly recall his face, nor the whole dream, I knew it was my Buddha master because I recognized his hand and his arm. Immediately after that night, the conscious pain faded and disappeared. This is only one of the many instances that I am grateful to my Buddha master, Namo Dorje Chang Buddha III. I've gained a lot from the 2 experiences that I mentioned, not simply because I experienced them, but because I am able to reflect on them through the lens of Buddhism. learning why something is wrong and how to fix it with the Buddha Dharma. I acquired my views and understandings from Namo Dorje Chang Buddha III, who teaches the true Buddha Dharma, which is why I have been improving. This is why finding a master that is actually a holy being and diligently learning from him or her is of such importance. Even more importantly, we have to put what we learned into practice. This is my personal understanding. I'm not yet a true, authentic cultivator, but I strive to be one. I will speak briefly on why my Buddha master, H.H. Dorje Chang Buddha III, is a Buddha. Looking at his disciples' accomplishments is telling enough. Whether it be attaining a higher level of Tumo Dharma, Vajra meditation Dharma, rainbow body state, knowing when you will leave with Guanyin Bodhisattva to the Western paradise, or leaving this world with an unrotting body. Secondly, my Buddha master's Dharma discourses. Lastly, the inner tantric initiations and supernormal powers that my Buddha master possesses. I have personally witnessed some, such as my Buddha master's undecaying body as His Holiness and Fomu, Holy Mother the Great Mahasattva, born dark karmas for living beings, and interparanirvana in early 2022. For around at least a month, their holy bodies remained at the Holy Miracle Temple. Buddhist disciples continuously chanted mantra or a Buddha's name 24/7, ensuring that my Buddha master and Fomu were never left unattended. When I visited Glendale, California to participate in the 2023 and 24 Dharma assemblies, respectfully honoring the holy birthday of Namo Dorje Chang Buddha III, I witnessed nectar descending out of thin air around the trees close to H.H. Dorje Chang Buddha III Cultural and Art Museum. Not a single leaf and branch was wet. Not a single pine needle was wet. Last year, June 2024, after returning to Vancouver from the Dharma assemblies, one of my Buddhist sisters shared an experience during our recap session. She saw H.H. Dorje Chang Buddha III, who left this world in 2022, walking in front of Venerable Mo across the red carpet leading to the dais. She described His Holiness as wearing the yellow robe he wore when he received the World Peace Prize in 2011, and remained at the dais throughout the first Dharma assembly. I completely believe her because as Venerable Mo walked by me, I immediately shed tears. I was standing about 3 people down from the red carpet in the middle. If you read the 128 evil and erroneous views, you will truly understand what kind of being His Holiness Namo Dorje Chang Buddha III is, and what kind of master we should seek. The above are just my interpretations. There may be mistakes. I wish all living beings diligently learn the true Buddha Dharma and attain liberation as soon as possible. Amitabha. 今天农历15， 7月2号，2023年。然后我们在第3多江博艺术馆旁边，万里晴空，没有云朵，除了那边有一个小的云朵。然后这就有2棵树子在天降甘露，信用事业都在接。如果这个的话，那个2棵说不定也有。一般这一排都是什么呢？是的，这一排是的，那排人。我觉得这个好大，真的好大滴啊！是啊，好大滴啊！不知道照相看不看得见？这谁先发现？哦，这很多了，越来越多了。哦，我都感觉到脸上都洒，都滴到了。然后是。也不一定是垂直下来，有些是垂直下来，有些是也是斜的，对。
你让我接，我接下来都干了。对。你接下来都干了。来。
对，但我不知道这到底看不看。哦，看得见。
哦。大哥哥，可以就玩你的电脑吗？
这个比前2天法会洒的法水可多了。
没有吧？只有那个最佳。没有，洒的法水还是很多。
洒的法水。这个是我洒的。
哎呦
，Rich， 你那个 Zoom in 你可以去看一看，看得更清楚。
我知道，我非常殊胜，但是尽量不要踏到里面去。
哦，是。
非常殊胜，但是尽量不要踏。对，
真的有哎。
有哎。
处处都有。
哎呦。
我最后把你帽子给取下来。
对呀，把帽子摘了。
风一吹就下来了。对。
哎呀，有好多。
哇，你看。
哎呀，你看，而且是大，就是我以为昨天是活动是佛诞，
今天是的嘛，我知道了。
哇，很多的在这。
哎，有好大一颗过来。
你哇，我也说
去年有没有看见？没有吧？对。
有可能好像都就是也是
没发现，
我不知道，我反正
好多的在。
这绝对不是雨滴，绝对不是
像雨一样的感觉，在下雨。
甘露。
哦，对，我说
绝对，我们不要又犯这个错。
哦，对。
主要是你看从哪里出来的呢？就是从哪里下来的？
缝隙。
根本就不是从树枝上。
对，不是从树枝上下来的。
从天上，然后天上一朵云也没有，
掉下来的，
也没有，太阳也很大，今天30度还是什么呢？31度，31度
啊。那个树上该那个的老早晒干了。
对啊，
不是树，
绝对不是。你们我们自己亲眼再看一看。
哇，
亲眼看看到底是不是树枝。
啊，不是从树枝上下来的，从树枝空间下来的。
主要是树枝也没有这个东西，树枝掉什么东西啊？
我早上有个露水，老早被晒干了。对呀。
我们都见证了，哎呀，好幸运啊！
我们终于这个见证了，哎呀！
有些人第一次来就，
我们第一次来就看见了。
对呀，你们那个你之前碰到过吗？
我之前好像也碰到过，但是都忘了。小时候真的是有点。
我们小时候，
我弟弟他们都记得有见，就华正寺的那边。
对，那个
照片呢，在身上帮我们看不见。哎，对，管他看不看见，先拍我们这个。
要不要拼团呢？大家，我跟你说 ，right now they down， get on go。
对，挺好的，挺好的。
那天那个好多神者们发上去。
是吗？哦。今天
要不要过来一下？在多处方面，你看看这儿，这直垂下来。哦。不要跳进去，妈妈不要走，妈妈就这样靠着。该路啊，该路啊，该路，让我的身体全部都好了。啊，我什么身体无痛无病，自在，我们自在。